Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blur the Mouth, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite game. Now, this game has to do with a super soldier, and no, I'm not talking about Captain America. I'm talking about Solid Snake, Big Boss, Solidus Snake, Liquid Snake, Ocelot, Eva, and the list goes on. So, this game was one of the first games I ever played as a kid. So yeah, I started playing Metal Gear Solid around 7, and it came on the PlayStation demo disc. And I was so excited because it was
Bro, demo discs.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you remember the demo disc?
Retro.
That tells my age, guys. That tells my freaking age.
No DLC.
Right. So it came on the demo disc, which came with a whole bunch of other games like, I don't know. I think Portal came on one of them, I want to say. But anyways, Metal Gear caught my attention because when I played it, I was like, okay, you're this guy that comes out the water and you're attacking scientists with guns. Little did I know that the people in the white jackets weren't scientists. And the second I went up to him was the and then dropped and then snake issue with that. And that's where I fell in love with the game. So after that, I ended up getting the game for my PlayStation 1. It was one of the first mature games that my mom got for me, not realizing what it was.
And
So anyways, I played that game in 1997. It became one of the fastest growing games that I fell in love with besides Spyro, Mortal Kombat, and Siphon Filter. Metal Gear was special to me just for the simple fact that I've never played a sneaking game like that with so much good dialogue. I mean, for anybody out there who has played Metal Gear Solid before, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, the old school versions, or all the way up to, I'll say, Portable Ops, which is technically the third one in line if you want to go, want to be technical. But you can literally sit there and watch the videos all day on just them talking to each other. That's how gripping the game was with the conversations. With Metal Gear Solid, we don't really have those games anymore with the story that is as gripping. Now we have microtransactions. The characters aren't nearly as fleshed out, and if they are, you got to play or you got to read something or watch something later. It is an actual cinema piece like Metal Gear Solid was. Hiro Kojima and Konami, the way they made that game was like playing a movie. And I don't mean, push this button to go, push that button to go movie. You were enthralled with every action. When Meryl was shot by Sniper Wolf in the hallway and you got to go find a sniper rifle, you were freaking out. You were making sure, you want to make sure Meryl survives. You're, what do? I got to kick the wolves. I got to climb under this thing. I got to make sure I'm back. And then you go back and she's gone and you were just enthralled with it. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid has to be one of the best story-based games that I've played growing up. From, as I said, Metal Gear Solid 1, where on 8-bit, where you were the Rook. Told you a little bit about Metal Gear Solid 1, why I liked it. Now, Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually the first one in line, and that's Snake Eater. That has to go with Big Boss, and that's the guy in the middle, if you can see, on the actual screen.
Boom.
There we go. He's the guy in the middle that's smiling real hard. The guy on the left is Liquid Snake, who happens to be one of the funniest characters in the game besides Austin. Guy on the bottom is Solid Snake, and the other one is George Sears, also known as Solidus Snake. Excuse me.
The most solid.
The most solid snake of them all had to be Naked Snake.
There you go.
Naked Snake, Venom. Oh, and I forgot about Venom Snake. I'm sorry. I forgot about Venom Snake from this little.
What's that?
This is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember Metal Gear Solid 5, Pat. So Metal Gear Solid 5 was a game where you ended up playing as a, not clone, as in the rest of the games, but a doppelganger of Snake. Yes, I know. Pat's face said it all for every person playing the game. For me, I loved it. I like the idea of you playing. Thank you. I do like the idea of you playing as another Snake or as somebody else who can hold the same legacy as Snake did without being a bloodline. It also taps into what they were talking about in Metal Gear Solid 2, where they tried to remake Raiden as a new Snake. I will get into Raiden in a few. I know a lot of fans dislike him. Get over yourself. He's awesome. With Metal Gear Solid 5, you are actually the medic who was in the helicopter. My fault, spoilers. You're actually the medic who was in the helicopter with Snake during Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero. The helicopter ends up getting blown up by a woman who ends up having a bomb in her uterus, which is kind of messed up.
There's another in my...
That game was fucked. Excuse my French. Pardon my French, but that game was just messed up. I mean, who puts a bomb in your stomach and your uterus? So with Metal Gear Solid, when you're trying to get Snake back to the base, and I believe her name was Paz, which actually stands for peace. She was one of the main characters in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. That's how you get to know her, and that's why she ends up in 5. But Paz ends up blowing up the helicopter that Snake's in, and that's why you play as a different character. Throughout the game, you're not quite sure that you're a different Snake. You believe you're the original John, aka Jack, aka Naked Snake. So the whole time you're playing, but something feels off. He's not actually talking like he normally would. He doesn't smoke a normal cigar like Snake does. He uses other international weapons rather than this one right here, which is the 1911 that Snake uses in Metal Gear Solid 3, Portable Ops, and also in Peace Walker. Whoop, there goes my headset. I'm just going to lay that down for a second. So there's a lot of hints that tell you that this isn't Snake, but at the same time, it is an enjoyable game. The only thing with 5, unlike 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, unlike 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 5 doesn't really have a cinematic presence. It's great graphically, but unlike 1 where everything you do in the cinematics or outside of cinematics keeps you enthralled, it's more just running from one place to the next. That had to be one of the biggest upsets for most fans because we also got a game that wasn't fully finished. That said, my favorite Metal Gear Solid game has to be 3. Metal Gear Solid 3 is the one I think that should have started it off. Metal Gear Solid 3 is following Naked Snake, who is the one in the middle, the one with eye patch. That's technically Big Boss later on, who becomes the main villain. But following Naked Snake, you get to see the de-evolution of a hero into a quote-unquote villain of the main franchise. So in the beginning, you play as the clone son, who is the imperfect clone trying to stop Big Boss. But then they kind of bring it back a little bit to show that it's not as black and white as good and bad. The reason why 3 was so impressive to me, again, was not only the cinematic, not only the writing, but the fact that when you were fighting in the game, you were fighting for someone. You were fighting for something. You were fighting for a ideal. 3 starts it off with the idea that Boss, who was Big Boss's predecessor, what her view on the world was, and then Big Boss and Zero, who was also his Colonel Campbell in the older games. So with that said, with 3, you understand why the hero becomes the sort of tyrant, the tyrant-ish of the game. You have more of a relation to him. You have more of an understanding. Because anybody who is forced to kill the person that has trained them, that they were lovers with, because his relationship with Boss was complicated. It was more than just love. I mean, they fought and trained together. They developed a new style over 10 years. So when you are forced to kill that person who has developed you into the person you are today by the country that you swore to protect, it just makes you sort of question your allegiance. And I think Boss said something.
Yesterday's ally becomes today's opposition. And this Cold War, Think back. When I was leading the Cobras, America and Russia were fighting together. Now, consider whether America and Russia will still be enemies in the 21st century. Somehow I doubt it. Enemies change along with the times, the flow of the ages, and we soldiers are forced to play along.
Boss said something amazing in the game that I really appreciated. She says that one day, basically, wars change. One day you will fight on the same side as your lover, and the next day you will be told to kill him. Politics are war, and you can't just be a soldier to politics. You have to be a soldier to yourself and the rest of the world to find out what's best. To just blindly follow orders, it's going to get you killed. And that's also what happened to her in a sense. She knew what was going to happen, but she was so patriotic that she let herself be a villain to save America from nuclear war, which is the same thing that Big Boss tries to internalize throughout the rest of the games and how he becomes a villain. To go back to, actually, I'll go over to, from Metal Gear Solid 3, we will go over to Portable Ops. Portable Ops comes in about several years after the incident in Russia with, man, I cannot remember that Metal Gear Solid's name, but after the incident in Russia with the first Metal Gear that they made. And it goes more into John, a.k.a. Jack, a.k.a. Naked Snake, a.k.a. Big Boss, coming more into the role of Big Boss. Because while you're playing that game, he doesn't want to be Big Boss. He doesn't want that title. He doesn't want anything to do with that because that title has so much of a stigma. But throughout the game, he becomes more and more enticed by it. And he has to figure out more of the boss's legacy and what's right and what's wrong. And by the end of the game, by the end of Portable Ops, he is almost at wit's end with the United States. And when we go into, Portable Ops, sorry. When we go into Peace Walker, Peace Walker is where he is just done with the United States and he's done with the title of Snake and he picks up the title of Big Boss. Peace Walker has to do with people, I guess, mutilating the idea of what Boss wanted. It shows that anything can be used for good or bad as long as somebody has an agenda. And I do like it because it also shows that his trust with his closest allies are not as tight as he thought. Because Zero, the person who he developed, Zero was the guy who was his Colonel Campbell, as I said before. So he ended up betraying Snake around Peace Walker by taking some of his semen and using his DNA to create the clones of the Les Enfants Terribles, which stands for the Three Terrible Children. The Three Terrible Children are liquid. Three Terrible Children go as this: Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Solid Snake. Although they were born at the same time, there is an age difference of a couple seconds between them. So when Big Boss found out that Zero had done that and imported a spy into his organization, he just had enough. He broke ties with the United States and he became a soldier for hire in a sense. Him and his people came for a soldier for hire, and he wanted to build a world for soldiers that they can always fight, because he felt that when a lot of the people who fought for their country come back, they are mistreated horribly to the fact that they can't find housing, they are living on the street, they're going hungry, they're going insane, they're not being taken care of. So instead of having them go back home to something so dismal as that, he wants to build something that he calls Outer Heaven. Gotta get chills when I think of that. Outer Heaven is a place where soldiers can battle constantly. It is the Zanzibar land for them. It is basically what all Metal Gear is about. So with Snake being disenfranchised with the United States and with following his country, again, he started up his own sort of militia of people who wanted to fight constantly. Now, these people aren't fighting mongrels. They fought for a cause. They fought for a purpose. They're just not out there killing people for joy. I'm not going to say money because that's definitely part of it. But they're not out there killing people just to be killing people. They're out there to fight, to show that a soldier has purpose beyond just being a soldier, which I'm still trying to figure out. But then from going into Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, we land into Ground Zero. Ground Zero is where Zero, no pun intended, Zero, who happens to be, again, the Colonel, who happens to be the Colonel Campbell of Naked Snake, he ends up betraying him and sending FOX after him. XOF, excuse me, not Fox. XOF is the opposite of Fox, which was the American unit that Snake was on. They are the Black Ops unit that would clean up whatever Big Boss had done, especially back in Metal Gear Solid 3 when he messed up the nuke going off. They had to go in and clean that up. But we didn't know about that until game, I guess, 6 and 5, or 4 and 5, which is Ground Zero and Metal Gear Solid, Phantom Pain. There we go. So with that happening, they sent XOF, and that goes back into the helicopter blowing up with Paz having the snook in her, as Pat would say. So with that happening, and then you become a replica of Snake. And while that's happening, and then while that's happening, and then while that's happening, stop playing. The real Snake is out there building his own outer heaven, while he has Venom Snake, who is a medic from the helicopter, who had facial reconstruction, hypnosis, and went through all of John's mission training videos or recordings so he could get more in the mindset of Snake. So he can basically take the brunt and the attention off of what's going on with him. Once that happens, and once game 5 is over, and again, I'm not going to really get into 5 because it just kind of messes with the characters a bit and really doesn't stay true. But once you're done with 5, you jump back to the very first Metal Gear Solid game where you play as David, who is Solid Snake, and that is the gentleman in the middle with the green eyes. So as you're playing as David, you don't actually have the title as Snake yet. You were just, it was actually, Hiro Kojima kind of copied it off of Terminator. You know the first Terminator movie, right, Pat? What's his name? Kyle, the guy who came back in time. Kyle Reese. Thank you. God, I'm good. Anyways, so.
I was about to say, it's been many, many moons since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I'm just a movie buff and it just sticks in my head. It's one of those things I can just, you can name something, I'll be like, oh, that. Anyways, so they kind of copied the image of Snake off of Kyle Reese from Terminator, and they used that sort of character build to make Snake into what he is now. So throughout that whole game, you are basically doing the same thing you did in Metal Gear Solid 3. But again, this game came out before, so Metal Gear Solid 3 is copying. And Metal Gear Solid 1, which is the actual name, or Metal Gear Solid, you, again, are a rookie. You're going in and you are going against Venom Snake, who you do not know is Venom Snake at the time. You think that's the original Big Boss. You end up killing Venom Snake, getting out there, blowing up Metal Gear, and then again, Big Boss shows himself, and that's Metal Gear Solid 2. And in Metal Gear Solid 2, you do the same exact thing, but this time you actually fight Big Boss. The best part is you kill Big Boss, spoiler alert, or kill Big Boss, with a can of hairspray and a lighter. Yeah. Killed Big Boss with a can of hairspray and a lighter.
Hey, listen! How dare you!
That's just, wow. So as that happens, Snake gets out of there. He basically retires from Foxhound. And that's when we come up with Metal Gear Solid, I believe it's called Espionage. Was it Metal Gear Solid Espionage? Is the game that everybody knows from the PlayStation platform. And in that game, you are basically forced to come back to work for the United States government. Campbell sends a group of soldiers into Alaska to go get Snake. He has become a musher. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, musher.
Musher. Now that you guys have all of that, you understand that the chronological order of the games is all screwed up because they came out
screwed up
at so many different times in the period. I mean, the original games, as I was saying, came out in the 80s, and you had the one that I'm talking about right now, which came out in the early 90s. And also, I just want to say...
mid-90s, 95.
Mid-90s. So that game was something mid-90s, 95.
Okay.
Anyways.
So Lovell keeps thinking I'm trying to tell him something.
I know. I'm just like, what is he trying to tell me? Campbell, I'm listening.
Breaker, 2929.
I don't know, Campbell. There's a lot of people here. Anyways. So anyways, it goes into Metal Gear Solid, where you are pulled back in. Campbell gets you from being a musher. You are injected with, I want to say nanites, but I don't think they said nanites at the time. But with nanites, you are developing a virus in you that's called Fox dye, which, let me tell you, if there is ever a plot convenience, it's Fox dye. So with that, you were sent back into a makeshift version of Outer Heaven, aka Zanzibar land, at Shadow Moses. Shadow Moses was a offshoot military base that was taken over by the other Foxhound unit, which I don't know. I mean, you would think after about 5 Foxhound units becoming traitors, you just stop with the freaking units. Whoa. Time out. Sorry, guys. This is Future Gates here, and we noticed this video may be a bit too long. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this into 2 parts, and we'll welcome you guys back at part 2. See you soon. Oh. Snake! Anyways, so yeah, basically that's how I got my mom to get me the game. I played that exact song back in 1997.
That's funny because my friend and I wrote it in 2012.
Exactly. I time hop. Key as Snake and your. Oh, I thought you said stop. I misread that.
Just scratching my face, bro.
I misread that.
I know that's illegal in 2020.
It is so illegal.
But
you see, guys, you see that? Scratching his face and messed me up.
I know.
Anyways.
Good thing I'm not wearing a mask.
Patrick! Phone's ringing.
Okay. All good. Could have had a surprise guest on the phone.
What, did you have somebody call me? Oh, I was
Just saying we could have. Now we go live to this person calling me.
I know, right? Oh, God, this scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh, did I just mess up a phone call?
That was a great intro, though.
Really?
Do you want to take that and just start talking again?
Yeah. Where'd I leave?
No, it was perfect. Like, as soon as you faded in, you started talking. It was great.
All right. I left off at this game. I started. See, Pat, we were like 7 when we played this game, right?
Dude, young. I would have been like 7 or 8, yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. All right.
Cool. You want to clap?
I always think of like a booty clap when you say that. I'm like, no, I don't want to shake my ass.
I mean,
Hey, take 2.